Commander Do-hyun stood at the observation window of his ship, looking down at the blue planet below. Earth looked peaceful from space, but his research told a different story. This was a death world, a planet so dangerous that its inhabitants had to evolve special abilities just to survive. "Commander, the stealth systems are ready," said Lieutenant My-sun, checking her tablet. "Our ship will be invisible to Earth's radar systems." Do-hyun nodded. "Good. We need to study these humans without being noticed. The Galactic Federation wants to know if they are as dangerous as we think they are." The alien ship moved slowly through Earth's atmosphere, using its advanced technology to stay hidden. They had chosen a small city in what humans called the United States for their first close observation. The ship's computers had identified this area as a good place to study ordinary human behavior. "Sir, I found something interesting," said Officer Sang-ho, looking at his scanner. "There's a human educational facility nearby. They call it a military academy, but there's also a normal residential area right next to it." Do-hyun walked over to look at the scanner. This could be perfect. They could study both military and civilian humans in one place. "Take us down. Keep the stealth field at maximum power." The ship landed quietly in a wooded area between the military academy and the suburban neighborhood. Do-hyun selected his best team for the ground mission. They wore their most advanced stealth suits, which made them almost invisible. "Remember," Do-hyun told his team, "we are here to observe only. Do not interact with the humans. Do not leave any traces. We are scientists, not warriors." The alien team moved carefully through the trees. Their first stop was the military academy. Through their invisible observation posts, they watched young humans training. The aliens were surprised by how intense the training was, even for young humans. But something else caught Do-hyun's attention. A young female human, who their data identified as Park Hae-hyun, showed remarkable skills. She moved faster and thought quicker than her classmates. The scanner showed that her physical abilities were far above average. "Mark that one for detailed observation," Do-hyun ordered. "I want to know everything about her." The team followed Hae-hyun when she left the academy. She walked to a normal-looking house in the suburban area. The aliens watched as she entered the house, greeted by a woman they identified as her mother, Park Ji-won. "Sir, look at this," My-sun said, showing Do-hyun her scanner. The mother's body shows signs of extensive combat training, but she works at a place where small humans gather for early education. "A kindergarten teacher," Sang-ho explained, reading from their Earth data. "But these readings suggest she was once a warrior." Do-hyun watched through their cameras as Ji-won moved around her kitchen, preparing food. Her movements were smooth and efficient, like a well-trained soldier, but she was just cooking dinner. The father, Park Ta-jin, arrived home later. The alien scanner showed similar unexpected readings from him. His muscles and reflexes suggested combat training, but their data showed he designed buildings for a living. "This is fascinating," Do-hyun said, watching the family eat dinner together. "These humans maintain their combat abilities even in peaceful roles, and their offspring shows even more potential." As night fell, the alien team continued their observation. They didn't notice how Ji-won's eyes sometimes paused at the spots where they stood invisible. They missed how Ta-jin's casual walk around the house was actually a security check. They didn't realize that Hae-hyun had spotted one of their camera drones and deliberately acted normal. "Sir," My-sun reported at the end of their first day, "I recommend we focus our study on this family. They seem to represent an interesting mix of civilian and military human characteristics." Do-hyun agreed. This family could help them understand how humans could be so dangerous yet live such peaceful lives. "Begin detailed surveillance. I want to know everything about their daily routines." What the aliens didn't understand was that they had just made their first major mistake. They had chosen to watch the wrong family. Or maybe, for what they were about to learn about humans, they had chosen exactly the right one. In their hidden ship, Do-hyun wrote his first report to the Galactic Federation. "Humans continue to surprise us. They maintain their deadly abilities even in peaceful roles. Their young show remarkable potential, but they seem focused on normal daily activities. Perhaps they are not as dangerous as we feared. He would soon learn how wrong he was. Because on Earth, being a parent meant being ready for anything, and Park Ji-won and Park Ta-jin were not just any parents. They were Earth parents who had spent years training to protect their family. The aliens were about to learn why Earth was called a death world, and why its inhabitants, especially its parents, were considered so dangerous. As the alien team settled in for their long-term observation mission, they didn't realize they had already been spotted. In the Park family's living room, Jae-won was casually braiding Hae-yun's hair, while mentally noting the positions of every alien observer around their house. In his home office, Ta-jin was drawing building plans, while also mapping out the energy signatures of alien technology he had detected. "Mom," Hae-yun said quietly during their nighttime routine, "I saw something strange at school today." Jae-won continued brushing her daughter's hair, her movements never changing. "Oh, what did you see, sweetheart?" The air looked funny in some places, like it was bending wrong. "I see," Jae-won said calmly. "Did you tell anyone else?" "No, Mom. I remembered what you and Dad taught me about keeping quiet when something seems wrong." Jae-won smiled and kissed her daughter's head. "That's my girl. Now, get some sleep. Tomorrow's another big day." After Hae-yun was in bed, Jae-won met Ta-jin in their kitchen. They moved and talked normally, knowing they were being watched. "The roses need attention," Jae-won said casually, which was their code for external threats. "I'll look at them tomorrow." Ta-jin replied, meaning he would scan for weaknesses in the alien technology. In their ship, Do-hyun watched this simple domestic scene with satisfaction, not realizing he was watching two of Earth's most dangerous inhabitants plan their response to his presence. "Sir," my son said, "should we set up more observation posts?" "Yes," Do-hyun replied, "but be careful. We don't want to disturb their normal routines." That night, as the alien team thought they were safely hidden and observing, they were actually being observed themselves. They had no idea that their first contact with Earth was already going very, very wrong. 3 days had passed since the alien observation team began watching the Park family. Commander Do-hyun was becoming more interested in young Hae-yun's capabilities with each passing hour. The young human shows remarkable adaptation skills. My son reported, watching Hae-yun practice at the military academy. Her performance scores are 30% higher than her age group's average. Do-hyun made his decision. "We need to study this specimen more closely. Prepare the extraction chamber on the ship." Lieutenant Kita, the team's science officer, looked worried. "Commander, our orders were to observe only." "Sometimes we must take risks for scientific progress," Do-hyun replied. "We'll return her before anyone notices she's gone." That evening, the aliens put their plan into action. They waited until the Park family finished their dinner. Through their cameras, they watched Jae-won help Hae-yun with her homework, while Ta-jin worked in his garage workshop. "The parents are separated. This is our best chance," Do-hyun said. "Team Alpha, move in." The extraction team, led by Officer Sang-ho, activated their stealth suits and entered the house through an upstairs window. They moved silently down the hallway toward Hae-yun's room, their footsteps completely silent thanks to their advanced technology. In the kitchen, Jae-won was washing dishes. She hummed a quiet tune, but her eyes narrowed slightly at the almost invisible distortion in the air that moved past the kitchen doorway. Years of Special Forces training had taught her to notice things others would miss. The alien team reached Hae-yun's room. She was sitting at her desk, working on her mathematics homework. Sang-ho raised the sleep inducer, pointing it at the young human. Hae-yun felt something was wrong. Just as her mother and father had taught her, she stayed calm and pressed the small button hidden under her desk. In the garage, Ta-jin saw the red light flash on his phone. His daughter had activated the alarm. He calmly put down his tools and pressed a button that looked like a normal light switch. Throughout the house, hidden sensors activated. The aliens didn't notice any of this. They fired the sleep inducer at Hei-yun. She slumped forward onto her desk, appearing to fall asleep naturally. "Target is secured," Sang-ho reported quietly. "Moving to extraction." Two team members carefully lifted Hei-yun. They were so focused on being gentle with their young specimen that they didn't notice Jae-won was no longer in the kitchen. The extraction team moved toward the window with Hei-yun. Suddenly, the house's power went out. The aliens weren't concerned. Their equipment worked without Earth's electricity. "Keep moving," Sang-ho ordered. "We're almost." He stopped talking when he felt something press against his back. Even through the stealth suit, he knew it was a weapon. "Put my daughter down," Jae-won said softly. Her voice was calm, like when she spoke to her kindergarten students, but it carried an edge sharper than any blade. The aliens froze. Their stealth technology was perfect. No human should have been able to detect them. But somehow, this civilian had not only found them, but managed to get behind them without them noticing. "How?" Sang-ho started to ask. "Your stealth tech is good," Jae-won said, still in that kindergarten teacher voice. "But you breathe. The air moves around you. And you smell like ozone. My old unit used to track alien tech by that smell." In the garage, Ta-jin was already moving. He had mapped the energy signatures of alien technology around his house over the past 3 days. Now he activated the signal jammers he had built, disguised as normal power tools. In their ship, Do-hyun watched with growing concern as his team's communications began to fail. "What's happening?" he demanded. "We're losing signals from the ground team," my son reported. "Something's interfering with our technology." Back in the house, the alien team was learning why taking a child from Earth parents was a terrible mistake. Their stealth suits flickered and failed as Ta-jin's jammers did their work. "Now," Jae-won said, her kindergarten teacher voice never changing, "let's talk about why taking someone's child is a very, very bad decision." The aliens saw her clearly now. She stood with perfect balance, her weapon never wavering. Her eyes reminded them of the apex predators they had studied in Earth's nature documents. "Commander," Sang-ho transmitted, his signal barely getting through the interference. "We have a situation." Before Do-hyun could respond, more things started going wrong. The ship's sensors detected multiple incoming ground vehicles. "Security forces approaching," my son reported. "But they're not military or police. They appear to be civilian vehicles." They were civilian vehicles, parents from Jae-won's kindergarten class, all of them with various interesting backgrounds they didn't talk about. One was a former intelligence officer who now baked cookies for school events. Another was an ex-Navy SEAL who worked as a librarian. Jae-won called in the TTA. One alien observer reported, sounding confused. "What is it, PTA?" Do-hyun asked. "Parent-Teacher Association," Ki-tet explained, reading from their Earth data. "A group of parents who—" Oh no. The aliens were learning an important lesson about Earth. Never assume that civilian means harmless, especially when it comes to parents. In Hei-yun's room, the extraction team was trying to process how quickly their simple mission had fallen apart. Their advanced technology was failing, their stealth was compromised, and they were surrounded by what their scanners insisted were just civilians. "Last warning," Jae-won said pleasantly. "Put my daughter down, or I'll show you why my kindergarten kids never misbehave twice." The aliens had studied Earth's military forces extensively. They had prepared for soldiers, for armed resistance, for trained fighters. They hadn't prepared for a mother who could track them by their breathing, or a father who could disable their technology with homemade devices, or a suburban neighborhood full of parents with very particular sets of skills. As Commander Do-hyun watched his perfect observation mission fall apart, he began to understand something crucial about humans from Deathworld Earth. Their most dangerous defenders weren't in their military bases or government buildings. They were in ordinary houses, living ordinary lives, ready to become extraordinarily dangerous if their children were threatened. And his team had just threatened the wrong child. Commander Do-hyun watched in disbelief as his extraction team surrendered to a kindergarten teacher. On his ship's screens, he could see Park Jae-won directing the aliens to place her daughter gently on her bed. "Our stealth systems are completely disabled," my son reported, her voice tense. "And more civilian vehicles are arriving." Outside the Park residence, cars were parking along the quiet suburban street. The people getting out looked ordinary. A grocery store manager, a dentist, an accountant, but they moved with the same careful precision as Jae-won. Inside Hae-yun's room, Jae-won checked her daughter's pulse, while keeping her weapon trained on the alien team. "The sleep inducer's effects will wear off in an hour," Officer Sang-ho explained quickly. "She will be unarmed." "For your sake, I hope you're telling the truth," Jae-won replied. She pressed a button on her phone. "Ta-jin, is the basement ready?" In the garage, Ta-jin had transformed his workshop in minutes. Screens showed the locations of every piece of alien technology he had detected. His engineering tools had become a command center. "Ready," he responded. Mrs. Song from the PTA brought her signal tracking equipment. Did you know she used to work in electronic warfare before she opened her bakery? The alien team was escorted to the basement by Jae-won and two other parents. Mr. Lee, a librarian who moved like a special forces operator, and Mrs. Kim, a piano teacher who expertly disabled their remaining equipment. Commander Do-hyun faced a difficult decision. His team had been captured by civilians, but his ship still had superior technology and weapons. "Prepare the combat units," he ordered. "We'll retrieve our team." "Sir," Ki-tae objected, "these humans are protecting their offspring. On their world, that makes them more dangerous than military units." "They are civilian caretakers," Do-hyun insisted. "They are not warriors." He would soon learn how wrong he was. In the park's basement, Jae-won organized the neighborhood parents with practiced ease. Mrs. Song maintained signal interference. "Mr. Park from the grocery store, your old demolition team skills might be useful. They have a ship in the woods." Ta-jin studied the alien technology they had captured. His engineering mind quickly understood its principles. "Their power systems are similar to what I worked with in my military days," he explained to the other parents. "We can use that." Up in the ship, Do-hyun's combat teams prepared to launch. But something was wrong. Their sensors showed strange energy patterns across the neighborhood. "Sir," my son called out, "the humans are doing something with their power grid. It's interfering with our systems." Ta-jin had connected his signal jammers to the neighborhood power lines, using his knowledge of electrical systems to create a web of interference. The alien ship's advanced technology was being disrupted by modified civilian power tools and kitchen appliances. Jae-won's phone rang. It was the principal of Hae-yun's military academy. "We detected the alien energy signatures," the principal said. "Do you need support?" "No need," Jae-won replied calmly. "The PTA has it under control." The principal paused. She knew most of the PTA members' backgrounds. "Understood. Good hunting." In the basement, the captured alien team watched in confusion as these civilian humans operated with military precision. Mrs. Kim, the piano teacher, was analyzing their communication devices. Mr. Lee, the librarian, had already mapped their ship's likely escape routes. "Your species has warriors," Sang-ho said to Jae-won. "Why do your civilians maintain combat capabilities?" Jae-won smiled the same smile she used when explaining things to her kindergarten class. "On Earth, being a parent means being ready for anything. You threatened our children. Did you think we would respond like civilians?" Commander Do-hyun's ship shuddered as another wave of interference hit their systems. On his screens, he watched the neighborhood's normal exterior hide an increasingly sophisticated military operation. "The humans are surpassing our threat assessment levels," my son reported. "Their civilian defense capabilities exceed our military projections." In the park's kitchen, now converted into a tactical planning room, Tajin worked with other parents to analyze the alien ship's weaknesses. His experience designing buildings helped him identify structural vulnerabilities. Their hull uses similar principles to our earthquake-resistant structures, he explained to Mrs. Song. But that means it has the same weak points. The alien combat teams tried to launch 3 times. Each time, the combined effect of civilian technology, repurposed by people who understood both its peaceful and military applications, forced them back. Heyun began to stir in her bed, the sleep inducer wearing off. Ji-won sat beside her daughter, still coordinating the neighborhood's defense. When she wakes up, she told the captured aliens, "You'll understand why Earth parents are so protective." Commander Do-hyun received a message from his superiors at the Galactic Federation. They had detected the situation and reviewed his reports. Their response was brief: withdraw immediately. Civilian parents defending offspring are beyond current intervention capabilities. But withdrawal was no longer simple. The neighborhood's power grid, modified by Ta Jin and other parents with engineering backgrounds, had created an electromagnetic net around the ship. The PTA members, drawing on their varied military and intelligence backgrounds, had effectively trapped an advanced alien vessel using household technology. Perhaps, Kita suggested to Do-hyun, we should reconsider our assessment of Earth's civilian population. Do-hyun watched as more ordinary cars arrived, carrying more ordinary people who moved with extraordinary capability. These humans had turned a peaceful suburban neighborhood into a more effective trap than any military base. Add this to the report. Do-hyun told my son, Earth's most dangerous defenders are not their soldiers. They are their parents, and we have made a serious error in threatening their young. In the park's basement, surrounded by captured alien technology and determined parents, Sang-ho finally understood. On this death world called Earth, the line between civilian and warrior didn't exist when it came to protecting children. Every parent was a potential soldier, every home a potential fortress, and every PTA meeting could become a military planning session. The night was far from over, and the aliens were about to learn even more about why Earth's parents were considered more dangerous than elite military units. The night had grown darker, but the suburban neighborhood was far from quiet. Commander Do-hyun watched from his ship as his situation became increasingly difficult. His extraction team was captured, his combat units were grounded, and his advanced technology was being defeated by modified household appliances. "Sir," my son reported, "we've lost contact with our observation posts throughout the city. They're being systematically disabled." Do-hyun checked the reports. Each observation post had been neutralized with surprising efficiency. At one location, a parent-teacher conference had accidentally gathered directly above their hidden sensors. The combined interference from 30 parents' mobile devices had overloaded their equipment. In the park's basement, now converted into a command center, Jae-won organized the neighborhood's response. Heyun had woken up and was helping identify alien technology signatures she had noticed at school. "Their energy readings change when I walked past them," Heyun explained, pointing at a map, like they were paying special attention to the students. Ta Jin worked with other parents to expand their interference network. Mrs. Song, the former electronic warfare specialist, had connected her bakery's ovens to the power grid in a way that disrupted alien communications. Mr. Lee, the librarian, used his old intelligence training to predict where other alien teams might be hiding. "The aliens think like military units," Jae-won explained to the gathered parents. "They expect military responses. They don't understand that Earth parents are different." Commander Do-hyun was learning this lesson the hard way. His ship's sensors showed more civilian vehicles moving through the city, each one carrying what appeared to be ordinary parents. But these parents were hunting his observation teams with terrifying efficiency. "Another post is down," my son announced. A group of parents volunteering at a school fundraiser discovered it. They disguised their countermeasures as a bake sale setup. In the captured observation post, Mrs. Kim, the piano teacher, examined the alien technology. Her experience with complex musical equipment helped her understand their systems. Their communications use patterns, she explained, like music, but with energy instead of sound. The alien combat teams, still trapped on their ship, watched in growing concern as more observation posts went dark. These humans weren't using military tactics. They were using parent tactics, and somehow that was more effective. A mother who manages 3 toddlers can easily outsmart alien infiltrators, Jai-1 told her captured aliens. We multitask better than your combat computers. Tai-Jin's engineering knowledge proved devastating. He understood how structures worked, how they could fail, and how to make them fail safely. One by one, he identified weaknesses in alien equipment that matched patterns he'd seen in building designs. Their technology follows universal engineering principles, he explained to the other parents. The same rules that keep buildings standing tell us how to take their equipment down. Do-hyun received another urgent message from the Galactic Federation. Multiple observation posts compromised. Civilian population displaying unprecedented tactical abilities. Immediate withdrawal recommended. But withdrawal was becoming impossible. The parents had turned their entire neighborhood into a trap. Mrs. Song's modified kitchen appliances created an electromagnetic web that tangled their communications. Mr. Park's knowledge of demolitions helped them understand how to contain the alien ship without damaging the surrounding area. Sir, Ki-tae reported to Do-hyun, the humans are using their civilian infrastructure against us. Every household device has become a weapon. Every parent has become a tactical operator. The captured alien team watched as Jai-1 coordinated the neighborhood's efforts with the same skills she used to manage kindergarten playtime. She assigned tasks, prevented conflicts, and kept everyone focused on their goals. Your species treats parenting as a civilian role, Sang-ho said to her, but you operate like elite military units. Jai-1 smiled. On Earth, being a parent is more demanding than military service. We don't just protect our children from ordinary dangers. We prepare for anything. The night continued, and more alien observation posts fell. A group of parents attending a school music recital disabled 3 posts while appearing to adjust their phone's camera settings. A father coaching his daughter's soccer team discovered another while setting up field equipment. Do-hyun watched his carefully planned observation mission collapse. These humans weren't just finding his hidden teams, they were doing it while maintaining their civilian routines. They turned everyday activities into military operations without breaking character. They're not fighting us like warriors, he realized. They're handling us like misbehaving children. In the park's basement, Ta-Jin had mapped every alien position in the city. His experience designing buildings helped him predict where they would hide. Structural patterns repeat, he explained. Even alien technology follows familiar rules. Hae-yun worked with her parents, applying her military academy training in unexpected ways. The aliens watch us the same way my teachers watch for students breaking rules, she said. Once you know what to look for, they're easy to spot. The alien combat teams prepared for another launch attempt, but the parents were ready. Mr. Lee had organized a late-night library event directly under their exit path. The combined electronic interference from parents accidentally running their devices at full power created an impenetrable barrier. Humanity's greatest strength, Jai-1 told her captured aliens, is that we never stop learning, never stop adapting. Being a parent on Earth means being ready for anything, even alien invaders. As midnight approached, Do-hyun faced a difficult truth. His elite military force, with its advanced technology and superior training, had been completely outmaneuvered by suburban parents using household appliances and school events as weapons. Add this to our final report, he told my son. Earth's parents are not civilian caretakers with combat capabilities. They are elite protective units who maintain civilian covers, and we have severely underestimated them. The hunt continued through the night as more parents joined the effort. Each one brought unique skills from their past lives, now enhanced by years of parenting experience. Together, they proved why Earth's parents were considered more dangerous than any military unit. They weren't just protecting their children. They were teaching the aliens a lesson about underestimating Earth's most dedicated defenders. As dawn approached, Commander Do-hyun faced the most difficult decision of his career. His observation posts were destroyed, his extraction team was captured, and his combat units were trapped in their ship by an army of parents using modified household appliances. The Galactic Federation demands immediate withdrawal, my son reported, reading the latest message. They say our presence has been compromised beyond acceptable levels. Do-hyun looked at his screens. The suburban neighborhood below appeared peaceful in the early morning light. Parents were leaving for work, children were preparing for school, and everything looked normal. But he knew better now. Every ordinary action concealed a tactical purpose. In the park's basement, Jae-won coordinated the final phase of their operation. The alien ship is still trapped by our interference network, she explained to the gathered parents. But they might try something desperate. Ta-jin had spent the night analyzing the alien ship structure. His engineering experience helped him understand its weaknesses. Their hull design follows universal physical laws, he told the group. The same principles that make buildings strong also show us where they're vulnerable. Hae-yeon worked with her parents, using her military academy training in new ways. The aliens think like textbooks, she said. They expect us to follow rules. But Mom always says rules are different when protecting family. Commander Do-hyun watched as more parents arrived for what appeared to be an early morning PTA meeting. Each one carried ordinary items, coffee cups, laptops, phones, but his sensors showed how these simple devices contributed to the electromagnetic trap around his ship. Sir, Ki-tae reported, the humans have completely adapted their civilian infrastructure to counter our technology. Even their morning routines are part of their tactical operations. The captured alien team in the park's basement had learned much during their night of captivity. They watched as Jae-won managed complex defense strategies with the same skills she used to handle kindergarten chaos. They saw how Ta-jin turned his understanding of buildings into weapons against their technology. Your species is unique, Sang-ho said to Jae-won. You maintain peaceful lives while ready for war at any moment. Jae-won smiled her kindergarten teacher smile. On Earth, being a parent means being ready for anything. War, peace, alien invasions, or temper tantrums. We handle it all. Do-hyun tried one last strategy. He activated his ship's most powerful systems, hoping to break through the interference. But the parents were prepared. Mrs. Song's bakery ovens, modified with her electronic warfare experience, created signal disruptions that matched their power increase. They're adapting faster than our combat computers can calculate, my son said, amazement in her voice. Their responses combine military precision with parental intuition. The morning continued, and more parents joined the operation. They disguised their activities as normal routines. A morning jogger whose smartwatch disrupted alien sensors, a delivery driver whose truck carried signal jamming equipment, a school bus whose route perfectly blocked potential escape paths. Add this to our final report, Do-hyun told his crew. Earth's greatest defense isn't their military. It's their parents' ability to turn everyday life into tactical advantages. In the park's kitchen, now a command center hidden behind normal breakfast preparations, Jae-won received updates from parent teams across the city. Mr. Lee's library study group has their eastern escape route blocked, she said. Mrs. Kim's piano recital is disrupting their western sensors. Ta-jin worked with other parents, using their combined knowledge to tighten the trap. A former demolitions expert who now ran a flower shop helped identify structural weak points. A retired intelligence officer who taught math used probability calculations to predict alien responses. Hae-yeon watched her parents work, learning more than any military academy could teach. The aliens thought civilians were weak, she said. They didn't understand that Earth parents are never just civilians. Commander Do-hyun finally understood his mistake. His forces had trained to fight soldiers, to counter military tactics, to deal with known threats. But these humans didn't fight like soldiers. They fought like parents, adaptable, unpredictable, and absolutely determined to protect their children. "We must surrender," he announced to his crew. "We cannot match their capabilities." The sunrise found the alien ship surrounded by ordinary parents living ordinary lives while maintaining an extraordinary military operation. J1 accepted their surrender with the same patience she showed her kindergarten students. "We will release your team," she told Do-hyun through their communication system. "But first, you need to understand something about Earth." She explained, her voice calm and clear. "On our world, every parent is a guardian. We build peaceful lives while ready for war. We teach our children both kindness and strength. We maintain our combat skills while baking cookies and helping with homework. This is what it means to be a parent on a death world." The Galactic Federation's final report on the incident became required reading for all future contact teams. Earth's parent population represents an unprecedented combination of civilian expertise and combat capability. Their ability to transform ordinary activities into effective military operations exceeds our current understanding. Future observations must avoid any action that could be perceived as a threat to their offspring. As the alien ship prepared to leave Earth, Do-hyun had one last question for Jae-won. "How do you maintain such complex defensive capabilities while living peaceful lives?" Jae-won's answer was simple. "On Earth, that's just called being a parent." The suburban neighborhood returned to its normal routine. Parents went to work, children went to school, and life continued as usual. But the aliens had learned a crucial lesson about Earth. Its most dangerous defenders weren't in military bases or government buildings. They were in ordinary homes, living ordinary lives, ready to become extraordinary protectors whenever their children needed them. And in the Park's household, life returned to normal too. J1 went back to teaching kindergarten, where her ability to handle alien invaders translated perfectly to managing finger painting activities. Ta-jin returned to designing buildings, now with a deeper appreciation for how structural principles could be used for defense. Hae-yeon had learned the most important lesson of all. On Earth, being a parent meant being ready for anything, even teaching aliens why they should never, ever threaten someone's child.